everybody. So yesterday I made a mistake. I said it was the 25th. It was the 24th yesterday. Today is the 25th. So 25th of September, Wednesday, 2024. So we'll have a kirtan and then we'll dive into Gopi Gita. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Oh Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Oh Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Oh Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai. Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Oh Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jai Shri Guru Garanga Ganhava Giridhari Radha Madhav Ju Ki Jai Shri Brishabhana Nandini Vajeshwari Radharani Ki Jai Shri Nityananda Rai Ki Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astoktar Zara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astoktar Zara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astoktar Zara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astoktar Zara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Jai Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Srila Baladevi Dibhushan Gaudiya Acharya Ki Jai Jai Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Traya Ki Jai Jai Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Jai Swarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Gauda Parsada Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sika Holsi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Shri Gauda Bhakta Brinda Ki Jai Shri Antadvip Mayapur Simantadvip Gaudrandvip Madhyadvip Koladvip Ritudvip Janadvip Modrandvip Rudradvip Apmaka Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dada Sabad Martmika Shri Braja Mandal Ki Jai Shri Radha Kun Shama Kun Ganga Jamuna Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Maharani Ki Jai Shrimati Brinda Devi Maharani Ki Jai Shrimati Yogamaya Punamasi Devi Maharani Ki Jai Gopishwa Mahadev Ki Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Ki Jai Ketra Mandal Ki Jai Sarva Vigna Vanasa Karishina Shingadev Bhagavan Ki Jai Bhakta Pravashi Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai Charidam Ki Jai Chari Sampradaya Ki Jai Chari Acharya Ki Jai Akara Mataraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai Shri Keshav Ji Gaudiya Mat Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samagat Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol
Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kathamayam Dadati Shvapatantikam Priya Surupe, Daita Surupe, Prema Surupe, Sahaja Virupe, Nijana Rupe, Prabhueka Rupe, Tatana Rupe, Swavila Surupe, Anapita Chirim Chirat Kuranavarta Nokalo, Samarapaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam, Hari Purata Sundarata Tikatamba Sadipita, Sadakradare Kandare Spuratu Vasachinandanaha, Yam Pravajantamana Petyam Apeti Krityam Dvaipaino Viraha Katra Ajuhava, Putreti Tammayata Yottarvo Benedustam Sarvabhutam Hridim Munamanatoshmi Bhaktiya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmadi Tarangamadye Kripa Mahitvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charanara Vindam Vajami Radam Aravinda Netram Smarami Radam Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radam Karuna Baradram Tatomma Manasnikatina Kapi Tavaivasmi najivami tvaivina iti vignayarate tvam nayamam charnantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om, Asto Tarazara Shishimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again, millions and millions of times, unto the lotus feet of our dear most beloved Nitya Leela Pravishta Om, Asto Tarazara Shishimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and all our illustrious Rupanuga, Guru Varg, and all the Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha, kripa sindhavevacha, patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavena namo. So we went through the introduction. We also went through Venu Gita and Pranaya Gita before we started this Gopi Gita. So, yesterday we reached the climax after Srimati Radhika leaves the Ras Leela. And it's described that the gopis, Saubhagyaman, had become too intense, this pride of intoxication, of having Krishna personally dance with them. Even though there was billions of gopis, they all thought Krishna was dancing only with them. Even though he was spinning around incredibly fast, time was rearranged to accommodate this pastime for Krishna. But when Radharani left, then the Ras Leela had no more magic really for Krishna. And it's described that Krishna leaves like an elephant walking away from the Ras Leela. An elephant can walk upstream against tremendous force. So what was that force? That force was the affection and attraction of all these billions of gopis towards Krishna. And yet he could leave there. He disappeared also at the same time, but he walked away as well. It's described in two different places. And just before I forget, yesterday I described this verse, Aradayo Bhagavan Vijesha, Tanayas Tattama Vrindavanam. And we gave the credit to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, but today my dear friend Kinchan Balaram Prabhu has done research and come up with good praman that actually this verse is written by Srinath Pandit or Srinath Thakur, who was a disciple of Srila Krishna's Kaviraj in this time. So this is Srinath, and sometimes the name Srinath gets mixed up with Vishwanath. So in our Shlokamrita book it says Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, but in fact that's an error that we should rectify. So it's Srinath who wrote that verse. So coming back to this pastime, I want to delineate the points because there's 5 or 6 reasons for Krishna enacting this pastime. Everything is inspired by Krishna. Shakti fulfills the desires of Krishna. That's what Shakti does. Whatever Krishna desires, Shakti will fulfill that. Shakti is never independent herself, but Shaktiman is always independent in his desires to please his beloved gopis. So we already described, I think, to some degree, when Radharani is walking with Krishna through the forest, she understands that all my darling gopi friends are beside themselves in separation, searching for Krishna. She knew that must be the fact. And she wanted them to share the joy of being with Krishna. So she actually wanted them to catch up with Krishna and Radha. She wanted them to catch up with her. And Krishna understands that immediately. As soon as Radharani has this thought, Krishna understands what she wants. But Krishna has to adjust everything. He knew, and we've described this already, that if the gopis came and found the two of them together, there would be some enviousness might come. So Krishna had many desires to fulfill. And a principal desire was to unify all the different camps, the Tatastha, Swapaksh, the Surit, and the... who's listening? Swapaksh, Tatastha, Vipaksh, Surit. Four camps of Sakhis, right? You should write them down if you don't know them. Swapaksh and Vipaksh, those are the two easy ones. Then in the middle, there's the Surit, and then there's the Tatastha. So four of them. So we described yesterday, they have their own groups, and they're the best in their own group. They consider that they are the ones. And everyone, like if you're following Chandravali, then she is Swapaksh. You understand? And if you're following Radha, then she is Swapaksh to that group. So these camps have their own independent moods, politics, which reign supreme in Vrindavan. That's what the excitement is daily in Vrindavan. So all these groups had to be reconciled. And how better way to reconcile them is than to all of them acknowledge the supremacy of Radhika's prem for Krishna. Radhika, they're all manifesting from Radhika. So by this pastime of Krishna deliberately leaving Radha, when he knew the gopis were getting close, then he deliberately disappeared so that the gopis would find just Radhika and see the height of her separation mood, which was millions of times more than theirs. They had been beside themselves like a bunch of mad women searching in the forest for Krishna. And when they saw Radhika's separation mood, then they all acknowledged completely, yes, Radhika's prem is higher than all of ours. So many points have been accomplished. Their Saubhagyaman, their pride, was purified. And Radhika is placed in the center from their hearts, acknowledging she is the supreme lover of Krishna. Now, and the camps have all been reconciled. So now the stage is set. Everything is harmonized for the Ras Leela to begin. But there's another point that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur brings up, that when Radhika is with Krishna at this time, she's in her Swadhina Bhartika mood. I've explained this a number of times. When she is controlling her lover. Swadhina Bhartika, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati talks about it. Catch this term. It's a very important part of the language. If we catch the language, these terminologies, we can very fluently and fluidly enter into these pastimes more simply. Swadhina Bhartika, one of the 8 types of heroine. She controlled her lover. And then Krishna says to Radhika, Krishna is reciprocating with that controlling mood and being very submissive. So what is that called? Dakshin mood. So Krishna is in a Dakshin submissive mood, and Radhika is in the controlling mood. This way, there is ample rasa between them, because there's a distinction. And then Krishna says to Radhika, do you want to come to a flower bed, or shall we keep walking? And all of a sudden, Radhika says, I don't care, you can either. All of a sudden, she's become submissive. She's not directing, yes, I want to go to a flower bed, or I want to keep walking. She's suddenly come into a submissive mood. But Krishna's already in a submissive mood. So now you've got two bhavs that are the same. This doesn't make the waves of rasa rise very high. It's like the waves of rasa, like on the stai bhav, is like the lake. And when these vyabhachari bhavs and these moods come, they make towering waves. And when they crash together, this is something very wonderful. It's very jubilant. But all of a sudden, they both become the same. There's no more waves because they're both the same. They're both in a, Radhika is in a submissive mood, and Krishna already was in a submissive mood. So for this reason also, Krishna left Radhika. So understand all these different points that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur brings out in his commentary, and my Gurudev also brings out, but it's coming from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So we understand something of the rasa tattva aspect of why Krishna left Radhika at that time. But in principle, it was to reconcile all the different camps of the gopis and to put Radhika as the total queen of the dance that was about to manifest. Now everything has become harmonized, and now they've come to the banks of the Jamuna, very beautifully washed by the waves of the Jamuna. And the rainy season has just finished. This is the autumn season now, Sarat Punima. This is coming soon. This is the beginning of Kartik. This is the first Ras Leela pastime. So now Krishna has arranged. Now there's one final thing Krishna wants to hear. He wants to hear their collective song of separation. So this is the Gopi Gita that's been come. So this is the wave of the pastime that's happened up to this point. Try to hold it. Don't let these pastimes just come in one ear and out the other, because it's very important for our meditation when we know the build-up, etc., and the sequence to the events happening. Then we have much more appreciation, finally, of this song, of their separation. Now they're all together, and they've searched in the forest, and they've gone so deep in the forest together, but they know Krishna is following them, and they think we must be inconveniencing Krishna by going so deep into the forest. They think that will be inconveniencing him. So they stop going into the forest, and they come to the bank of the Jamuna, where there are not so many trees, and they know that their song is going to have a wide audible range. When they sing their Gopi Gita, it's going to be easily heard. And they know Krishna's there. They have so much love for Krishna that they know he's there. When you love someone in the transcendental world, like Guru, for example, you just know he's always there. If you have that sambandha, if you've created that sambandha, you just know he's always there. They knew that Krishna was there, but they had to express their hearts together. But now it's going to be a collective expression rather than just a singular one without Radhika. So now they're all going to sing together. So this is the background. We've said these things before, but I'm just saying it again to make the picture, so we can see. We have the mood. My Gurudev said constantly, these pastimes are all about moods. It's about, we come into the mood of this to try to experience the tremendous feelings that the gopis have towards Krishna. And we were saying yesterday that why are we reading this Gopi Gita? Why are we following the gopis? Because they have the highest mood in existence. towards Krishna. It's described in Brihat Bhagavatamrita. There are 5 types of bhaktas. The path of bhakti is very, very high. So these 5 bhaktas, if you remember, the first is Prahlad Maharaj, and he's in Shantaras, he's a Jnani Bhakta. This is the first. After Prahlad Maharaj comes Ambarish Maharaj, and he's a sadhak. He's not a siddha. Prahlad is a siddha. He's a realized soul in his service to Nrsingadev. In Nrsimhaloka, he's chanting his Vandanam prayers. That's what he's doing, the same thing in this world as he's doing in the spiritual world. So he's a perfected soul. But his bhakti is not as high as Ambarish Maharaj's. Ambarish Maharaj, because Ambarish had his focus on Brajendrananda and Shyam Sundar. And it was much more personal when Lord Nrsingadev manifested and killed so many demons. Prahlad wasn't running with a glass of water or a fan. He wasn't doing any of these things. He was just saying, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. My Gurudevs often describe that Nrsingadev could have appeared as a mosquito. Prahlad would have still worshipped him in the same way. It was without that very personal connection. It was as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You're so supreme, you don't need a glass of water after you've done such a huge task like this. So we're just considering for a moment the degree of or intensity of bhakti. Bhakti means devotion. So what is the degree of devotion? And then Ambarish Maharaj, his devotion is higher. He performed his tapasya in Madhuvan, in Vrindavan. His objective was to serve Brajendrananda and Shyam Sundar. So that's the second. The third is Hanuman, who's a Raga Nuga Bhakta. Hanuman is a Rag Anuga Bhakta. He's a Rag Atmika Bhakta. His Rag, his intense desire to please Lord Ram is complete, is full. He will do anything for Ram. So he's the third in the degrees. And then the fourth are the Panch Pandav, the Pandavas. It's called Para Bhakti, this Para Prem, this highest Prem that was performed by their services offered by the Pandavas. And then the fifth is Prematur. This is Uddhav, his Bhakti. So these are 5 types of devotion. And then we cross over that line and we come to the Brijbasis. And then you have the Sakas, and the degree of their devotion. The Sakas' devotion is divided with their mothers and fathers also. It's not just Ekantika towards Krishna. And then you have Mother Yashoda. She's attached to Nanda Baba as well. So there's some division there. It's only the gopis. And amongst the gopis, who is supreme? Chandravali and Radhika. They're the 2 supreme, and amongst those 2 is Radhika. So there you have a whole line of examples of bhakti. So now we're talking about the gopis and the exalted bhakti of that. When we have this type of respect for the love, for the bhakti that they hold in their hearts, which is way beyond compared to Ambarish or Prahlad or any of these other persons. We have to see it in gradation. Why do the Acharyas give us these gradations? To highlight the speciality of their prem. Only by really acknowledging this height of their prem are we going to become reverential sufficiently to them and not sort of take their prem lightly in any way. It's the deepest conception of love in existence. And now this whole pastime has unfolded. They were dancing with Krishna, and then Krishna left them. They were feeling completely the height of all possible gifts had come to them. And then he left. It's like a father gives his son a candy and then takes the candy back again. And how did they feel that time? Traumatized. Krishna's doing something. It's like Guru does something like this also. He'll sometimes traumatize us for days.
doing an internal operation on us, sometimes even weeks, sometimes even longer. It depends how deep the operation is, has to go on. He's doing that. He's making us see what has to be. He's not going to fix it himself. He's making us see what needs to be fixed. So by us appreciating the depth and intensity of the Gopis' praying, then we hold this Gopi Gita with so much more, speciality, mood, respect. Respect, I think, is a good word. So we hold it with that mood. So now they've come to the clean banks of the Jamuna and they're singing their song of separation. I've often wondered, actually, maybe anyone can give me an answer, how did they all know this song together? How did all of 3 billion gopis all know the same song? And the same melody too, perhaps, you know? I don't know, but they hadn't sung it before. So again, this is sort of like a chintya. I mean, they're all singing this song, but my Gurudev will explain that there was different moods in their singing of the song, but still they were singing the same. So this first verse, Gopya Ucha, this is verse 1. Jayati te dikam janmana braja shrayata indira shashvatatrahi daita drishyatam dikshutavakas tvaitrita shavas tvam vichindate. It's so beautiful the way these syllables are connecting and the different, it'll be described. But just one idea for serious sadhaks, at different months like Kartik or like the month of Purushottam, you can take a brat to sing this Gopi Gita every single day. It's magical. If you sing this Gopi Gita every single day and read and hear the translations, after 31 days, you're going to feel something very significant shift in your consciousness, because you're offering your time to repeat the words of the gopis. You're confirming that you're in this anugatya of the gopis. So it's an idea for us in Kartik or in Purushottam or any time or every day even. We can just chant this whole, it takes something like 15, 16 minutes to go through the whole thing. So now the translation. The gopis say, O most beloved, because of your birth in this land of Braj, the entire area has become more glorious than Vaikuntha and other planets. It is for this reason that Lakshmi, the goddess of beauty and wealth, eternally decorates it with her presence. O beloved, in this blissful land of Braj, it is only we gopis who are not happy. We maintain our lives solely for your sake, being extremely anguished in separation from you, and are wandering from forest to forest in search of you. Therefore, please appear before us. This is their prayer, their heart prayer. This is the first prayer. So now the Bhav, Prakashika Vritti, the commentary that illuminates the mood. So we said before, it's the mood. We get in the mood by understanding the whole pastime and its build-up and its sequence. Moods are gradually invoked to come to a deeper sense of connection with the gopis. We can connect with them if we get in these moods, if we're moving forward that way. Definitely we can. Of course we can. They want us to connect with them. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur begins his commentary on Gopi Gita by offering prayers unto the lotus feet of Srila Sanatana Goswami, Srila Sridhar Swami, and all the self-realized acharyas in our disciplic succession, from whom he has received his transcendental moods. He also prays to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Sri Krishna himself, covered by the mood and luster of Srimati Radhika, without invoking the mercy of our Guru Varga,
just like every day we say the Guru Varg mantras to invoke their potency and their power to speak anything that can be inspiring or nourishing. It's only their mercy. If somebody asks you to speak on something and you just get up and start speaking without trying to invoke the mercy of your Guru, it will be flat. It will be without potency, really. We have all been trained to do that, but there are some groups that don't do that I've seen. They just get up and start speaking. And that always feels very strange that they haven't tried to invoke. Even in Jaiva Dharma all the way through, when Babaji is asked a particular type of question, he'll invoke the mercy of Mahaprabhu, the mercy of Raghunath Das, to actually speak the eloquent answer. Because it's these people who will speak these truths through the medium of us. We're always trying to realize our insignificant position. We want to become the transparent via medium for these truths. They want to flow through us. Srila Chakravarti Thakur states that one cannot know the confidential sentiments of Gopi Gita without receiving the mercy of the gopis. So we've talked about that a lot. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, particularly in Rai Ramana and Samvad, he's saying categorically you cannot achieve the mercy of Braja Prem without the mercy of the gopis. Completely impossible if we haven't appreciated the moods of the gopis. So we've tried to scroll through these different moods through looking at Venu Gita and Pranaya Gita, and now we're coming here. This is our intention, to catch and connect with the moods and speciality of the gopis, because it's their connection that is going to carry us into the gift that Mahaprabhu has given. Mahaprabhu has given the gift of Braja Ras, the gift of Manjari Bhav. It'll come to us. We'll feel that inspiration come in the heart when we become sober. What does sober mean?
Free from desire to enjoy.
Yes. We park our material desires completely. We even take the keys out and throw them away. We don't want them anymore. They're a burden. They're a hindrance. Yes, without these material desires. It's just like without the drink, you become sober. The drink is what do you call, acting out all these desires. He therefore prays to Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Jiva Goswami, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Srila Narottam Das Thakur, and all the other acharyas, first in their form as sadhaks, practitioners of bhakti, and then in their siddha forms, their perfected forms as gopis. In Madhurya Kadambini and Ragvartman Chandrika, he has explained that we should gradually approach a level of bhakti whereby we may practice bhakti in both our sadhak roop and our siddha roop. Siddha Rupena Chatri was a Seva Sadhak Rupena, Siddha Rupena Chatrahi. That Bhav Laksanam Lipsanam. And now there's a footnote here explaining this. On this path of Raganuga Bhakti, the sadhak being enchanted by intense loving sentiments for Krishna in the mood of any of Krishna's beloved associates of Braj, serve him in two ways. In the sadhak roop, the present physical body, he follows the sadhan executed by the Raganuga Bhaktas, our Goswamis and Gaudiya Acharyas. In the siddha roop, the internally perfected spiritual body, suitable for directly carrying out one's longed-for service to Sri Krishna. He emulates, not imitates. Emulates is different to imitates. He emulates the moods of Krishna's dearmost Ragatmika associates, like Lalita, Vishaka, Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari, and so on. So this is from Ragvartman Chandrika, the first illumination. Seva Sata Rupena, Siddha Rupena Chaturhi, Tad Bhav Lipsana Karya, Prajalokana Shrayata. Yes, the last one. To live in Vrindavan. So the commentary begins with a mood of reverence towards our channel where we're connecting to this current. Following his auspicious invocation, Srila Chakravarti Thakur begins his explanation of Gopi Gita. The autumn Ras Lila, called Sarda Ras, is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. It transpired in Vrindavan's Vamsivat, a vast forest where millions of gopis gathered to dance with Sri Krishna. At that time, Vamsivat looked completely different from the way it does now, for the branches of the massive banyan tree, Vat, under which Krishna played his flute, Vamsi, spanned a vast area. It's described that these branches actually reached right across the Jamuna. The Sakas would run across these branches to get to the other side of the Jamuna. If you've been to Vamsivat, today there's a huge Vamsivat tree is there, but it's nothing like it was there previously. It's all full of monkeys now that'll rob us. In the previous chapter, Srila Chakravarti Thakur described the gopis' search for Krishna after dance. They sought him everywhere, in every cave and kunj, secluded grove of Braj. And despite feeling overwhelming helplessness when their attempts failed, they continued to search. That's the point, just like Mother Yashoda. Even though she was completely fatigued, she continued her effort. So as we're sadhaks, we also continue, even though when it becomes difficult. My Gurudev used to say many times, don't become hopeless. Hopeless is when we cave in. Never become hopeless. Always this unbounded hope. That's what Ashabandha means. One of the symptoms of Bhav. Finally, they came to the enchanting bank of the Yamuna River, where they became fully immersed in Sankirtan, a soulful entreaty to Sri Krishna by singing his names and pastimes in the form of this Gopi Gita. They wept as they sang, certain that only Sankirtan of this kind would ensure Krishna's return to them. They don't have to look for Krishna in the cave anymore. They know that Krishna is actually there. They just have to appeal to him by their song. This unique feature of this age of Kali is the extraordinary result of Sankirtan. Its practitioner weeping in a mood of separation from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or from Sri Krishna and the gopis, and yearning from the core of his heart for their darshan, will certainly receive their mercy. Krishna never fails to manifest himself to such a devotee. So sometimes when the suffering gets so intense, sometimes devotees write to me and they're really, really suffering in their particular material situations, shockingly. And I respond that actually in that most intense suffering time, like for example, if you have a fever or something, it becomes very, very bewildering. But if during that time you can remember Krishna, so much mercy comes. It's just like being in Vrindavan in the summer season. In the summer season, when it's so hot and you're stumbling around the different streets looking for a little breeze, you found a corner of the street where there's some kind of idea of a breeze, and you just sit there and enjoy the breeze. When it gets like that, and the tin roofs are rattling with sometimes the wind that's coming, and it is just unbelievably hot, and the current has gone, there's no power, that's when you really pray, what am I doing here? Am I here for Krishna? And if we think, yes, even in this difficult external circumstance,
I'm here. And if I'm chanting at that time, if I'm praying and manage to keep my sanity equipoised at that time, then so much kripa can come. Even here in Mayapur, which is not so extreme as Vrindavan, especially Radhakund. If you stay in Radhakund, this is really extreme. It's really, really extreme in the winter. It's freezing. And in the summer, it's so baking, you can't even walk on the stones around Radhakund after about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. You can't walk, it's just, it's scorching hot. It's so intensely hot for the whole summer. So those people who remain living in Radhakund, and Radhakund's internal facilities are very less. The power goes off so many times in the day. You probably get the power on for like 3 or 4 hours of the day during the summer and the winter. So to remain there, then this suffering condition is what I'm saying. And the gopis are in extreme suffering condition. We can't even imagine the separation that they're experiencing. They've just been with Krishna. They've been in the intensity of union with Krishna. Krishna's been flattering them. He's been fixing their ankle bells we just described. He's been sometimes passing the pan from his mouth to them. He's been wiping the perspiration from their heads. He's been completely there for them. This is Krishna, their dear most beloved. He's been doing all this, and then he's suddenly gone. Oh my God. I mean, it's just surprising they can even breathe. So the separation has been so intense. And in that intensity, in the height of the intensity, actually in the heart, Krishna will manifest. That's what Mohan and Modan, these stages of separation, when it's so intense, Krishna will manifest there. It's practitioner weeping in a mood of separation from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or from Sri Krishna and the gopis and yearning from the core of his heart for their darshan will certainly receive their mercy. Krishna never fails to manifest himself to such a devotee. Krishna's qualities are supreme, superlative. It's like you don't promise a son, for example, something, and then you say, look at it, and then you take it away again. You know, they don't taunt you in that way, a loving father. They just want to benedict you. Krishna just wants to benedict us. And he knows what is best for us more than we do. We might think what is best for me is a nice, comfortable, material situation where I don't have to think so much about Krishna and pray to him so much. I can be more self-reliant by myself. I can do it by myself, yes. And Krishna, he's not there, is he? I have to think about these things. Each and every verse of Gopi Gita contains the two distinct moods among the gopis. This is very important to appreciate. My Gurudev will say it a number of times through. Submissive, Dakshinya, and contrary, Bhaumya. So we've already described a little bit of that submissive mood when Krishna is in a submissive mood to Radhika. And then Radhika becomes submissive also. So it became the two together. And Srila Jiva Goswami illustrates both moods in his commentary. The gopis whose natures are submissive, like who? Chandravali. Chandravali, her mood is Dakshin Bhav. She never will chastise Krishna. She'll get very angry with Krishna sometimes, because she'll be with Krishna and sometimes Krishna will say, oh Radhe, oh Radhe. Chandravali, she's cut to her heart. She knows that Krishna loves Radha more than her. But when he actually says it in front of her, it just really cuts her completely. She just wants to leave. But she doesn't rebuke him. She doesn't chastise him. She just makes some polite excuse to leave. It's like Rukmini in Dwarka. She has the same mood of submissiveness. And Satyabhama in Dwarka has the same Bhaumya mood, contrary mood, because she is Radhika. And Rukmini is Chandravali in Dwarka.
In Lalit Madhav, Rupa Goswami is explaining how all the gopis actually manifest in Dwarka and take those same moods in relationship to Dwarkadish, rather as husband, as pati. The gopis whose natures are submissive, such as those of Srimati Chandravali's group, express the feeling of their hearts openly and directly, whereas those whose natures are contrary, such as Srimati Radhika and the gopis of her group, communicate their emotions indirectly. Krishna prefers this. It's called parokshvad. They don't actually mean what they say. Just like Krishna in the Pranaya Gita told them all to go away, and they're thinking, well, actually, you don't really mean this, do you? You're just saying this. There are 4 groups of gopis, Swapaksh, Surit, Tatashta, and Vipaksh, each with different degrees of submissiveness and contrariness. Although the words of the gopis in the different groups are ostensibly the same, in the verses, the meanings and moods within each verse are diverse. While Srila Shukadev Goswami hid the various deep purports of these verses as he uttered them, they were later explained in the commentaries of the Acharyas. Shukadev Goswami, he just gives us actually a kind of like a peripheral on the pages directly of the Bhagavatam. It's our Acharyas who bring out the real significance of these words. If Shukadev Goswami goes too much into it, he'll go into ecstasy and he won't complete the 7-day time period that Parikshit Maharaj has. So he doesn't go into it to such a degree. But the Acharyas, they unpack it for us. For example, Srila Shukadev Goswami describes how, as the gopis sing with tears gently rolling down their cheeks, they beseech Krishna to place his lotus hands or feet on their heads or on their breasts. These verses are sung by all the groups of gopis, but the meanings behind them differ. Fascinating. An example of the mood of non-compliance expressed by the gopis in Srimati Radhika's group can be seen when Sri Krishna met with them just before Ras Leela began. Actually, we have not come here to meet with you. This is from Pranaya Gita. We have not, this is what the contrary gopis say. When Krishna tells them, you should go home, they tell him, well, we haven't actually come to meet you anyway. We just happen to be here. You see, these are and Krishna likes that. Yes, let me hear you speak. Actually, we have not come here to meet with you, they said. We have come to this forest tonight only to behold its beauty, when lit by the gentle rays of the full moon. We know that you are a very lustful male, but you should know that we are chaste young women, and we have vowed firm faithfulness to our husbands. We cannot delay here for a single second. You are trying to fill us with fear, telling us that the night is fearsome and wild beasts are roaming about, but we know that this is not true. In an attempt to lure us to stay here, you implore us in various ways, but we do not care to hear your pleas. Krishna loves this mood. Now, why does he love that mood? Because now Krishna has to perform the seva to catch them. Why does he love it when Radhika goes in man? Radhika wouldn't go in man unless Krishna liked that mood. Krishna has to roll his sleeves up and he has to work very hard to break that man, to pacify that man. So when the gopis are being contrary like this, now Krishna really has a workout. He has to figure out, how am I going to actually get them to soften their contrary stance? Whereas the submissive ones, they're already flopped out, more or less, Because every verse of Gopi Gita contains the moods of both the submissive gopis and the contrary gopis. Each verse can be explained according to the direct meanings and the indirect meanings. Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur reveal this in their commentaries. And the commentaries of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami are not always the same either. Sometimes they also disagree on different points, which gives it some more flavor for the sadhaks here to go deeper into their commentaries and decide for themselves where do they want to put their faith, which they're both completely correct, but how can we reconcile sometimes the different descriptions? Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur give the example
of this first verse of Gopi Gita to indicate a poetic speciality found in several verses. Each of these verses consists of 4 lines, padas, and the first and 7th syllable of each line begins with the same letter. For example, in the opening line of this verse, Jayati Te Dikam, the first syllable starts with the letter J, and the 7th syllable starts with the letter J, Janmana Braja. So the first and the 7th are the same. In the next line, the first syllable is S, Shraita Indriya, and the 7th syllable is also S, Shashvat Atrahi. Daita Drishyatam and Dikshu Tavakas both start with D, and Tvaya Dritasyavas and Tvam Vichinvate both start with T. So this is the rhythm, the song. Geet means song. It's the most beautiful song in all of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The learned poet Vopadev has described such literary devices in his famous scholarly treatise Mukta Phal. Vopadev is also known as Leela Suk, as is Srila Shukadev Goswami, the Suk, the parrot, who recites the Leela, transcendental pastimes, of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam. Some say that it was he and not Srila Vyasadeva who wrote Srimad Bhagavatam, but this idea is incorrect. So without this sublime poetry, it's like, for example, if you read the poetry of Rupa Goswami, there is no poetry in existence more beautiful and more sweet and more nourishing to the heart than the poetry of Rupa Goswami. His poetry is immaculate, and it just softens the heart. We want to pray to our Gurudevs to soften our hearts. Our hearts have become very hard in our battle with this material energy and our sometimes submissiveness to the material energy. They become hard. Our prayer is to soften our hearts. Dear Gurudev, please soften my heart. And when we read the poem, the poetry of someone like Srila Rupa Goswami, he can physically, through his words, begin to soften the heart, because the poetry is at such a height of intense sweetness. It's just so delectable that it melts the hearts of uncivilized people and brings us to a civilized. Poetry, beautiful poetry, will remind us of the civilized realm, that dharmic realm, that realm where people all serve the Lord with pure submission. That's what pure poetry will inspire in the hearts. So when we are blessed to come to the writings of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, is also the same. We miss it a lot, of course, if we're not reading in Sanskrit, if we're not reading in Bengali, or not reading directly. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives us a lot of beautiful entrances into this poetry. He's written so many books, poem, Gita Mala, Gita Vali, Kalyana Kalpataru, Sharanagat, these beautiful books. This is all poetry to soften and mental the heart, soften and purify the heart. Melt was the word I meant. I couldn't think of the word I meant. Melt the heart. We're looking to melt the heart. When the heart becomes melted, then we can connect fluently with the moods. Our acharyas have informed us that Gopi Gita contains many such specialities that will be revealed to us as we contemplatively study its verses. We will now proceed to look carefully at the meanings, both general and hidden, of the various words and phrases in the first verse of the Gopis' appeal to Sri Krishna. The Gopis sing,
Jayati te dikam janmana braja. Jayati means to become glorious or victorious. When we call out Gurudev ki jai ho, Govinda ki jai ho, or Tulsi Devi ki jai ho, we are expressing our hope that they will have victory over our Maya. Gurudev ki jai, let him have victory over my Mayic mind. The victory of one party automatically implies the defeat of the imposing party. He who is conquered is captured and imprisoned by the victor, and having come under his full control, is bound to carry out his every order. This is beautiful. The heart and mind of a conditioned soul are in battle with Sri Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas. I'll read that again because it's very significant. The heart and the mind of the conditioned soul. What is our heart? Our heart is my natural material desires. That's what I consider my heart. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm inspired to do this. If it's material, are in battle with Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas. There's Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas on one side, and there's my mind and what I think is my heart on the other side. But my heart, in a conditioned state, only wants ultimately material pleasure. Each step that we take, we're calculating, how can I enjoy? How can I enjoy? How can I enjoy? Will I enjoy this food tonight? Will I enjoy this sleep tonight? Will I enjoy this friendship today? Understand? We're always making our calculations of how to find pleasure, because it's such a suffering place, this world. This world is torturous. But the living entity by nature is Ananda Vyasat. By nature, he's full of bliss and pleasure. And if we're not getting that bliss and pleasure from our spiritual practice, we must look for it in the material realm. We must. Because we're by nature pleasure, not seekers, we are made of pleasure. Ananda Vyasat. Pleasure is our constitution. So if I'm not finding pleasure materially, I have to be looking for it. If I'm not finding pleasure spiritually, rather, I have to look for it materially. So the heart and mind of a conditioned soul are in battle with Sri Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas, with Vrinda Devi and all other transcendental personalities. A conditioned soul who aspires to be a devotee laments his condition and prays, "My uncontrollable heart and mind are like demons, and therefore I have no desire to serve Krishna, Guru and the Vaishnavas." How can I bring myself to this place? Gurudev ki jai actually means, "O Gurudev, please conquer my rebellious heart and mind so that they have no choice but to obey your every command." How do we submit to Guru? What can we give Guru? The one most precious thing we can give Guru is our independence. This independent spirit is what you can give to Guru. Guru, I give up my independent desire. I only want to please you. Not what I like, but what you like. Because this is the mood of the gopis. We've gone over this again and again. It's their mood. O Gurudev, having conquered my heart, do as you please with me. Make me your servant, make me yours. This whole mood, this whole commentary is beginning from this point of Sharanagat, complete Sharanagat. Jayati te dikam janmana praja. The word adikam means exceedingly. The gopis tell Krishna, "O most beloved Krishna, Dayita, your birth in this land of Braj has made it exceedingly more glorious than Swaga heaven, or Brahmaloka, the topmost heavenly realm in the universe. What to speak of the heavenly planets? Braja has become even more glorious than the spiritual realm of Vaikuntha." So I think we'll stop here and continue tomorrow. It's filled with nectar, really. I put the
narration on the thread, so you can hear it a number of times, and then when we're listening together, we'll get much more out of it if we've done sort of like a little preparation for it. But it's very complex, intense, and all spinning around the one understanding of prema, of what is love, what is pure spiritual love, because we are made of that spiritual love. That's how Jivadharma describes it in the 16th chapter. The residents of the spiritual world, they are made, they know nothing except love. So in order to get to that loving place, then the hard heart of the conditioned soul has to be melted by hearing these descriptions regularly. Because if we just hear them sporadically, it's described in the 40th chapter of Jivadharma. This, how does it go? This, I've forgotten the terminologies. Him, these two, yes, that's it, well done. Oh, it's nice to be with educated people. Yes, he says in the very first page of the 40, what is it? This Shravana Dasha, stage of hearing. And he describes that there are two types of hearing. Kram, Hina, Shravan. And what's the other one? Kram, Shuddha, Shravan. Kram, Hina, Shravan is sporadically hearing. I just hear occasionally. I don't hear constantly. Just occasionally I'll hear. But that serious sadhak, it says when rasa has arisen, this Kram Shuddha Shravan is described as the path of bhajan. When we can get into it fully, without a break. Ahvitiki. So it's a journey. Whichever level we're up to, we should know the path. Where I'm going, where I've been, and what is the sadhya, what is the goal. We shouldn't be in any doubt or confusion about that. However materially conditioned we are, we shouldn't be in any doubt about what is the sadhya. And what is the ultimate sadhya? I want to be a Palyadasi of Srimati Radhika. That is the ultimate sadhya. So always I'm holding that, and everything else is in relationship to that. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Gopi Gita ki jai, Go Premanande. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Just to repeat, the reason why we always chant the 3 Hare Krishna mantras at the end is to close the door on whatever has come in during the pravachan, so it won't just run out again. My Gurudev has described like that. If you chant at least 3 times the Maha Mantra, you're closing the door. You're keeping it inside, rather than just let it all go away. Gopi Gita ki jai, Go Premanande, Hari Bol. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Patitanam Bhavyo Vaishnave Namo.